Good morning, my Year 3 Egyptians. Today we are going to be learning about a very famous pharaoh. And what you're going to do is you are going to create me a fact file or poster about this famous pharaoh. So what we need to do is go take a look at him, make some notes ready for us to create our poster. So let's get on with today's things. If you do not have a whiteboard or a pen to help you make some notes, pause now, go and get. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, who was Tutankhamun? Wow. Let's take a look at 2 top facts and then we'll get down to business. So the first fact is cats were sacred animals in Egypt. It's thought that if families had cats in their house, it would bring them very good luck. People also used to use stones and wooden headrests as pillows because back then they didn't have a pillow. So they would put their head on stones and they would put their head on carved wooden headrests. So that mustn't have been too comfortable, must it? You have lots of videos linked in the activity today to help you with your research and your fact file. So click on the video, have a little watch, make loads of notes, and wow me with your knowledge. Alrighty, who was Tutankhamun? Now you probably see this picture a lot, but why was he so famous? Well, the reason he was so famous wasn't because he was one of the best pharaohs in the world, not because he was amazing at something he did. No, no, no. In 1922, an Englishman, Howard Carter, an archaeologist, Howard Carter, found Tutankhamun's treasure. He found his tomb full of bits and pieces. And that is how we know about Tutankhamun. So Howard Carter, who was he? Well, he was an English archaeologist. He's actually sadly now passed away because he would have been very, very old. But he was buried in Putney Vale, which is a place in England. He was an archaeologist. He spent over 10 years looking and searching for tombs in Egypt. He nearly lost his job because the lady that paid him, Lady Carnarvon, was so impatient of how long it was taking. And she said to Howard, she said, right, you need to find me a tomb or you've lost your job. And then that's when the magic happened. Howard Carter's water boy stumbled across a step and he tripped up. And then when he kind of went to investigate what he tripped over, he realized it was steps that were leading down. So they started digging and they started looking at what was buried, and they found in 1922 the tomb of Tutankhamun. Super exciting stuff. So Howard Carter was an archaeologist who found Tutankhamun's tomb. Pause the video if I'm going too quick, rewind, listen again, and see whether you can make as many notes as you can. Ready for your fact file. Okay. He was born in 1342 BC, and he ruled ancient Egypt for about 10 years. But unfortunately, he died when he was 19, which means that Tutankhamun became king, or he became pharaoh, when he was only 9 years old. His short time as pharaoh wasn't particularly memorable, but because he was discovered in 1922 and all of his tomb was intact, that meant that we know lots about him and a lot about the Egyptians, making him famous. They reckoned that there were 5,000 treasures inside Tutankhamun's tomb. That's a lot of treasures, a lot of gold. Tutankhamun was made pharaoh at the age of 9 when his father died at the age of 7. He had lots of special advisors to help him rule the country, because he was still just a boy. He had a really hard job to undo all of the work and all the bad things that his father had done, because his father, when he was Pharaoh, wasn't liked very much by the Egyptians. But thanks to Tutankhamun and the way that he introduced or reintroduced religion, people really liked him. He actually changed his name to Tutankhamun because he began to worship the Egyptian god Amun. And we learnt about him last week, but his real name, and this is a challenge to you, can you go and find out what his real name was before he changed it to Tutankhamun? Here's a picture of Howard Carter himself in 1922 inspecting the mummy. Apparently, Tutankhamun had issues with his legs, and some say that he used to walk with walking sticks, and there were signs that he possibly had a wheelchair-like seat. Although we don't know how young the boy king was when he died, although we don't know how the boy king died, apparently it happened very suddenly. And the tomb that he was found in was apparently for somebody else. But because he died so quickly and so suddenly, they rushed it and put him in. Maybe that's why we've managed to keep it hidden for thousands of years. Maybe because he wasn't supposed to be in there, it hadn't been discovered by many thieves and robbers who used to go and steal the treasures in the tombs. They believe as well that Tutankhamun's heart was also missing, and it may have been taken out by mistake. One of the other things that Howard Carter noticed was when he first looked into the tomb, that many things appeared to have just been tossed in. So they'd put all the paintings and all the things like that, just chucked it in, whereas usually they were hung beautifully, put in order, but it looked like someone did it in a rush. Another thing that was later noticed is that one of the sarcophagus may have belonged to somebody else, and that they changed it, and they had to make it slightly smaller. This is super cool because this was the first kind of treasures that we had found, because this was the first kind of life that we became to know about from Egyptian times. The Egyptians allowed all of his artifacts to be traveled around the world so that the rest of the world could see and know about them. So let's take a look at some of the things. But before I do that, we're going to pause for a second, and I want you to just gather your thoughts. Think about all the stuff that I've just told you, and if you need to rewind, now's the time to do so. Okay, so it is believed that the toes and the fingers of Tutankhamun had a gold kind of casing on them to help preserve them. He was found with his arms crossed across his chest in golden gloves, and then both of these to signify his royalty, his pharaoh status. He had this figure of Horus, the god, with infinity symbols in his kind of talons to help him live on forever in the afterlife. And this was made from beautiful gold and kind of mosaic-like stones. He was wearing golden sandals. And he had the finest jewelry that also had these gorgeous gemstones to signify the scarab beetles. All right, so when you create a fact file today, I want you to think about including pictures, color, your handwriting, and I want you to think outside the box and make it really creative. And don't forget to use the links in the activity to help you find out more about Tutankhamun. I want to see your pictures. This one's a gorgeous one with mind mapping. Loads of different facts, all in different colors. Maybe you could draw a picture of Tutankhamun's death mask and then give loads of facts about him, where he was born, what kind of height he was supposed to be. Maybe you could be super creative and do it on the computer and make me a presentation. The choice is up to you. Here are some questions to help you in your fact file. So, where was King Tut born? How old was he when he became king? How old was he when he died? Did he ever get married? So you can type these questions in when you do your research and see what you can find out. Maybe you want to find awesome pictures of the artifacts and explain all the different artifacts to me. So your task is to create a poster and a fact file about Tutankhamun. I want to know what you know about him. And if you want to have a super duper challenge, there are some true and false questions that you can answer. So don't just guess them. Some of the stuff was explained in the video. Other stuff you might need to research. But was King Tut another name that people called him? True. Yes, it was. False. No, it wasn't. And you can circle them. Can't wait to see your posters. Cannot wait to see how beautifully presented they are with lots of facts and details.